Today it's time for a best of 7 series of top level StarCraft 2. What I've got for you is a series of games that are all played on brand new maps. These are the new official ladder maps for StarCraft 2, and we're starting off on one called Incorporeal. Incorporeal? I think that's how you pronounce it. Spotting right here in the top left corner, playing with the blue Terran SCVs. We're looking at none other than Bunny's main command center. His opponent all the way in the bottom right with the red Zerg drones, he goes by the name of SHIN. Alrighty, Incorporeal. This is a map that was made with the most recent map contest tournament, and well, it ranked very, very highly. Interestingly enough though, I have casted quite a few games on all of the new maps from the TOMC, and this is not really one that I've seen pop up all too frequently. There's a bunch that we've seen a lot, like for example Scentworm. Scentworm, however, has not made it to the new official ladder map pool. This is one that did, so let us go ahead and have a quick little look around. Nothing all too crazy though, at first glance at the very least. So the way that they did the map pool this time around is they basically had a bunch of pro gamers vote and decide what maps were going to be in there. Then they had the community vote on what maps should be in the map pool, and then they had the map makers themselves vote on the maps that should make it into the map pool. And I think they took like 3 from the pro gamers, 3 from the community, and then 1 from the map makers themselves. And then 2 maps that were already in the previous map pool, they have also made it through to this particular season. So we've got a very nice variety, because you can imagine, right? The map makers are obviously going to pick whatever they think is like statistically, or at least in theory, the very best map. The programmers are just going to go on what they think is going to be, well, their favorite. Most of the time that means relatively boring maps. And then obviously the community goes with the wacky ones, like for example the new, well, 3-player map that we haven't seen in StarCraft 2 in a very, very long time. We now have a 3-player map in the official map pool. Either way, Incorporeal is not that weird. There are a couple of locations that are a little bit funky. Like, for example, we do have the Reaper here. Ooh, okay, that's a really nice kill, actually. Getting the Reaper for a single Zergling, not bad. But we have this right over here. I believe this is called a cul-de-sac. We gotta put a sign right over here that this is a dead end. This is a perfect spot to be building stuff that you don't want your opponent to know about. Not really too relevant, I don't think, in Terran versus Zerg, but I can already picture a Stargate going up right over here. I mean, that's the perfect spot for a proxy. Not super common, actually, on StarCraft maps to have dead ends. In general, though, this is not a super weird map. The watchtower here is only accessible from one side at a time, and ground units cannot quite run through, although a lot of units, of course, do have range, but Zerglings might have a bit of a trickier time taking those things. There are still some of these overlord pillars, so this is like a relatively standard looking map with a couple of minor twists here and there. And that really has been a theme over the last couple of years. We used to have map pools where all of the maps kind of felt identical, which, you know, I was never a fan of. These are maps that are, even the macro maps, like even the quote-unquote normal maps, they're all relatively normal, but they all have a bit of a twist. Like, for example, it's a little bit funky in modern StarCraft map design to have a flat natural. Usually, there's a ramp right over here. Now, obviously, there are ramps, but they're a little bit further away. And this generally means that you can be a little bit more aggressive in the earlier stages of the game. And, well, maybe that's why we see this Roach Warren at this time. SHIN opening up with a very fast Roach Warren. Double gas as well. Yeah, he's going to try and use this choke point over here to his advantage. Now, this particular series is from the Supers 7, so it's not the grand finals of an event. Instead, what we've got ourselves is a one-off best of 7 show match. I'm always a big fan of these, because generally speaking, you have to approach a best of 7 a little bit differently than you would a best of 3. Mostly because of the fact that if you play, well, up to 7 maps, I suppose, right? And you play half-hour-long games every single time, you're going to be absolutely exhausted. So usually the players do tend to go for some more aggressive build orders, and it makes sense to me to bring out something like this, especially on one of the maps that the opponent probably doesn't have a whole lot of practice on. Luckily here, though, for Bunny, he did decide to open up with some Hellion Banshee shenanigans. Hellion Banshee is really good against these type of openers, assuming the Banshee is at home. Which is why I'm not 100% sure that I agree with the Zergling run by at this point, because it's going to trigger that Banshee to return back home. The Roaches, in the meantime, are taking the long way around. If Bunny sends this Banshee across the map right now, he's going to be in trouble. There's 4 Ravagers morphing in a neighborhood not too far away. But if he keeps those units both at home, this is going to be very, very holdable. He hasn't seen much, but apparently Bunny is feeling... Oh, no. Well, no, it's still fine. He's just going to be able to bring them back. He's feeling that something is indeed a little bit fishy. Obviously, these units don't really have any anti-air. I mean, I guess the Ravagers can be useful. The only problem, though... Corrosive Balls, right? They should never be able to kill this. The only problem here is that there's just so freaking much. We already have seen some of the Hellions go down. Zerglings are obviously not a great target for those Banshees to be hitting. 18 SCVs have already died. The Roaches and Ravagers are working right now onto that tech lab. In the meantime, there's more Zerglings on the back of this too. So SHIN is effectively going fully all in with this. And I'm sure Incorporeal is a very nice macro map. But we are not gonna see it in the first game of this series. Because it seems to me that Bunny is dead. That's a bit of a classic. I spent the first 5 minutes yapping about how a map can change strategies and all that. And now there's all these interesting features. And, well, everybody's got a plan until they get Roach Ravagered into the mouth. I think that's how the quote of Mike Tyson goes. Anyways, we find ourselves on Ultralove here. Game number 2 of the series. I like that build actually from SHIN quite a bit. It is one of the very best all-ins that Zerg players can go for. It's fallen out of popularity because, well, mostly because Zerg players overutilized it, I think. At some point, when a strategy is done a lot, the opponent gets very good at countering it too and reading all of the signs. Now that that build, though, really has fallen out of favor for, the last 3 years, maybe? It's been a bit since I've seen that strat regularly. I can imagine that a lot of Terran players also may have just barely, maybe not so much forgotten, but stopped playing against it as cleanly as they were in the past. Because technically speaking, Bunny had all the tools to deal with that, but if you are caught off guard and you have to, well, deal with the flood when the Zerglings are already in your base, you're in a world of trouble. The thing about that strat, though, and one of the reasons why it fell off, is that even if you kill like 20 SCVs, you're still going to be able to macro your way out of it. Like, triple command center is very, very good. Mules themselves can mine a ton of resources, and obviously since Zerg is very committed, well, if you lose the vast majority of your workers, you can still actually just play the macro game. In that previous match, though, too much damage was dealt, and all of the follow-up was also gone, right? We saw the Stimpak getting sniped. Basically, Bunny was back to the Stone Age there. He wasn't going to be able to do a whole lot. All right, so Hellion Banshee here. Once more from Bunny. Not really mixing it up all too much. Just relaxing. We'll see if SHIN wants to go for something weird again. Not the case. I don't know exactly the timing at which he put down the Roach Warren in the previous game, but historically it was about 3:30. So at about 36-ish is when you would be planting down 36 drones or so. Is when you would be putting down the Roach Warren. Yeah, he's already moved past that at this point in time. So we do see a second Gas Geyser. No Lair yet, but I'm assuming that will be starting up as soon as he hits 100 here. Second gas is actually quite early. Ooh, Gas Geyser number 3 and 4 are very early. We'll have to keep an eye out on that. Generally, Zerg players will stick on one Gas Geyser until full saturation. It's not uncommon to get a 4th base and then take additional gases. I mean, these are not ridiculously quick, but maybe SHIN does have something in mind here. It could also be that he was a bit late with adding his drones back in gas, but he's already now taking the 6th one too, all before taking a 4th hatchery. Okay. Lair has begun. Roach Warren is once again here. Bunny is going... Okay, he went for a Viking first. Interesting. Yeah, so he went for a Viking first and now goes straight into the medevac production. Interestingly enough, if he was going up against a Roach all-in, it would be hitting right now, right before Stimpak is done. So... he would actually be in a world of trouble if this was the exact same strategy as the one that SHIN went for in the previous match. Okay, well, we're going armor. We're going carapace. It is a single Evo chamber, though. Bit funky. He is nearly fully done making drones for 3 bases and still no 4th base. So it is a little bit tricky here, though, for the Terran player. He hasn't seen anything, so he can't really scout it. But usually, what goes through my mind when I see the Zerg player taking all the gas really quick is mute us. Mutas are 100 gas, 100 minerals each. Not what SHIN is going for here at all. But it is something to keep in mind. Although Bunny is not really doing a whole lot of scouting. Bunny's just chilling here. This is the type of attack, though, that will get absolutely wiped off the map. Lucky there are 2 of those medevacs nearby. Because roaches are going to make very quick work of all of this. SHIN's been making non-stop army, by the way, for a long while. Like, he is planning on attacking the opponent as soon as those upgrades are done. He's probably going to move with roach speed finishing. And then I guess +1 carapace will finish up for both the Zerglings as well as the roaches and the Ravagers as he is moving across the map. I would have liked to see the Evo Chamber a little bit earlier, if I'm being honest with you. Medevac should be able, the Marines here, they should be able to kill the hatch. But what about the army here at the front? SHIN is just doing good old Roach Ravager all-ins. These are classic strategies. Okay, the Medevacs have actually decided to return back home. The Marines overstimped now. Well, they can still get a nice surround. Okay, good targeting here as well by the Terran player. SHIN is just holding down the Roach button. Like, he's just making non-stop army. It's so funny, because in my mind, these are the strategies that fall off when you break into, like, Grandmaster League or so. They're very good on the ladder, but technically, it's not the best style to play, right? Like, technically. SHIN's like, haha, Roach go, brr. Haha, fun, brr, brr. I mean, it's not a bad idea. The only problem is that if this game progresses for, like, another 5 minutes, say about the time that, like, 2-2 finishes up, that's going to be much shorter than 5 minutes. In, like, 3 minutes from now or so, this Roach army will be kind of garbage. Obviously, SHIN is not planning on the game running that long, though, so he's just going back in once more. These choke points are incredibly painful. Yep, those siege tanks were having a grand old time. This one in the back, not a whole lot of... Oh, my God. Yeah, that fight was garbage. It's an early GG, though. I don't think SHIN really needed to tap out just yet, but my God, I guess he's here to play a best-of-7 series, and he wants to get it over with quickly. Now, Luke, when I did my initial review of the new maps, when the finalists of the TLMC were first announced, I absolutely hated this map name. So years ago, we had a map called Giganatha. Worst map name in the history of the game. Objectively terrible. Okay, no, some people really liked it. Anyways, I thought the map was fine. I just really didn't like the name. Because everybody was always like, oh, is it Giganatha? Is it Jaganatha? Is it Jag? Like, how do we refer to this? Also, if you Googled it, it has, like, all sorts of, like, I don't remember, some sort of religious symbols or whatever. I didn't think it was particularly relevant for anything StarCraft related. But anyways, now we find ourselves on an entirely different map. This one is called Maganatha. Maganatha. Obviously a reference to Giganatha. Now, originally I was like, okay, that's a stupid map name. Until I realized that apparently this map is named after Magnath, who is an Egyptian StarCraft 2 commentator. I think that's kind of fun. I met Magnath at a bunch of events. Very nice guy. And I can almost... I don't know if he's excited, but I can imagine he is very excited about the fact that this map made it onto the ladder at some point. What if it's an American map? What if it's MAGA now? Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay, well... I mean, I was just enjoying the map name quite a bit. Now I don't want to have any political or religious references in my video games, okay? The only political references I want are how amazing Emperor Brenda! Brenda agrees that Emperor Mengsk is amazing, okay? She loves Abathur. Logical decision. Look at Brenda's little arm over here, little T-Rex arms. How cute is that? Anyways, let's see. So I haven't actually seen a lot of games on this map yet either. My first impressions of this map when I first saw it is that it's absolutely massive. It just feels huge. So there's a load of bases, a lot of expansion that you can go ahead and take. Now there's a couple interesting features. There's these rock towers that destroy stuff when they collapse. So you can have a couple speed circles over here. I believe this is another tower that can be destroyed, which will then destroy the speed circle. There's a couple of interesting features here. Most of them won't really come into play until a little bit later on into the game, and Well, I mean, if SHIN has any say in the matter, the games are not going to last any longer than 5 minutes each. But there are certainly some possibilities on this map that will make the game a lot more interesting. Wouldn't be surprised, though, if we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that. Let's see. It's going to be Benchies again here for Bunny. I wouldn't mind just seeing, like, triple Benchy. This is a much faster lair, by the way, from SHIN. Yeah, that's a very quick lair. What are we going to do with the lair? SHIN is just doing all-ins today. So when SHIN heard that he's playing a best of 7, I guess he decided, okay, I'm going to try and do a best of 7 in 30 minutes. New Zerg challenge has been attempted. Win a best of 7 series in under 30 minutes. See if we can get the job done fast. That early GG in the previous game, though, may be something that he regrets here as time goes on, because I really don't think that was a necessary one. I mean, he GG'd while having more supply than the opponent. I understand that that was not an ideal situation at all, but he kind of looks like he's got something in the oven and that he needs to take it out. Like maybe he's making lasagna or something before he started this best of 7. Yep, here we go. Nidus Network. He's like, well, you know, I got like 40 minutes. Let's get the job done. I mean, a little bit of crispy lasagna is nice, but I guess you don't want to burn it, huh? So we're just going all-ins. That's all we're doing. And I'm assuming Bunny is catching on to this by now. He's seen the timing of the lair, so he knows that something fishy's happening again. Honestly, it's either Mutas or Nidus. Those are really the only options. So I'm very surprised. I mean, this map is new, but I'm very surprised. We have a dark spot inside of the main... Oh my god, it's here. Yeah. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? Well, he sees it, but I wonder if it's already too late. He's seen the lair. Why did we not make something in the corner, or at least put a spotter unit down? Here we go. Brenda, Karen, Margaret, Lily, Susan, Beth. All of the boomers are here. They're a little bit slow off creep. They used to be able to transfuse one another too. Only when they have a little bit of creep to stand on. But, I think this is, game. What a series. No, it doesn't have to be game, actually. Nah, this could go on for a while longer. Stimpack once more gets denied, though, and there's a bit of a problem here for Bunny Rodder, and that is that his entire main base is gonna die. And last time I checked, the main base is quite important. Okay, there is plenty of creep right now in the main. Okay, here the SCVs get pulled. No militia in StarCraft 2, but still a very useful idea. Nah, it's gonna be so many dead SCVs. I think if I'm Bunny here, you play it out. Clearly SHIN wants to get this series over with fast. Don't give it to him. Okay, well we do apparently. GG. Okay, next up we find ourselves on Ley Lines. And we've got ourselves a pool first build. A little bit funky. Very quick gas mining here too. SHIN did go for an expansion, but apparently we're rushing out some Zerglings. This is a very tried and true map. So Ley Lines together with Ultralove, those are the only maps that made it from the previous map pool into this one. And dude, SHIN is... What happened to SHIN? Does he have, like, beef with Bunny? Or, like, what are we doing? Like, what? Am I watching somebody get bullied? Is he trying to get the best of 7 over with quick? Like, what are we doing? Any percent best of 7. So far, I think we're at, like, minute 15 or so for the series. Sadly for him, he did lose game number 2, right? Nice little splitty here on the Zergling, so at least one of them will survive. Maybe that's why he changed his username to SHIN, you know? He likes kicking other players into SHIN. Really hurts. I've played a bit of football in my life. Getting kicked into SHIN is the worst. Anyway. That was an easy hold, by the way, for Bunny. Really not the end of the world at all. He did also get a drone kill, it seems. Probably the Reaper. SHIN, by the way, is his family name. It's not as exciting. He changed his username from Ragnarok a few years ago to SHIN, which is just his actual name. He's getting an OV, he's nice. Okay. So the command center was delayed a little bit. That's really the only thing SHIN achieved. It's not ideal, but also by no means the worst of his troubles. Look at this, though. Zergling speed is about to finish up. Guess what we do? We make Zerglings. Oh, all right, sure. We morph set Zerglings into Banelings, too. Man. SHIN's like, I heard Dark went off to the military, allegedly. Let me show you how he used to play Zerg for many, many years. Ay, ay, ay. I don't know what Bunny did to him, but, yeah, we're just Baneling busting, Roach all-inning, Nidus cheesing, we're doing everything. This is the great Zerg Book of Cheese! There's enough Marines available to kill these Lings, at least on the choke, so I don't think you're gonna be able to just run these Zerglings into the main base. But already, it's a lot of FCVs down. The thing is, obviously, here for SHIN, that he is committed very hard. Like, his worker count is only at now 33 drones. He hit a supply block at home as well. Maybe have to go for, like, a lair or whatever. No, we're just making 3 overlords instead. And we're doubling down on the aggression. Of course, a lair? Lowko. The only reason to go lair is for roach speed or for a Nidus worm. That's why we're going for a lair. Maybe in the next game we'll go Spire or something, but if it's not leading to direct aggression, what's the point? Lurkers, Hydras, Vipers, Hive Tech, aka what all the other Zergs are going for? Nah, we don't need that. Where we are going, all we need is aggression. Okay. Now, I think this is honestly okay, though, for Bunny. He should certainly repair the orbital. Yeah, I was gonna say, if he lets the orbital slow burn down, that would be a disaster, but one SCV is now repairing it. This is totally fine for Bunny. We're gonna see a little bit of a roller coaster in the income advantage tab, but it should all steadily favor the Terran here. Mules are just incredibly nice. These make up for a lot of that worker deficit and then some. Shindo, holding down the drone button now. Let's see. Lair's about done. Second Evo chamber. This is a bit cursed as well, man. We have the 2 Evo chambers, but they're entirely disjointed. Terrans like to do this sometimes with their engineering base, but yeah, he's kind of doing it over here, I guess, but this is not too odd. Okay, let's see. Baneling speed is going to be the first weapon of choice. Very late Roach Warren. Maybe we're going to go for like a Ravager Baneling all-in. That's really the only thing that makes sense here. What are we going to do with this one? Okay, it is going to be Missile. So even though we're rushing out Ling Bane, he is going to be upgrading Roach Ravager. The problem here is that he's not going to be able to finish up his... Well, I guess it will still line up reasonably well with the +1 Missile, but all of this is a little bit disjointed. Like, none of those upgrades are going to finish up at the same moment. If he starts up Roach Speed as soon as the Roach Warren is done, it's going to line up together with the +1 Missile? Yeah. But, I mean, then we have these 2 other upgrades that are finishing up right now, and they're not going to achieve much. Now, one of the advantages here for Zerg, when your timings are disjointed like this, and this sounds a bit silly because technically it's bad, but Terran will have a very hard time guessing what in the world's going on in this game. Like, what if you're Bunny now? So you've seen a Ling Bane bust early on, you've seen a ton of Zerglings, you know that he's droned behind, but what is the follow-up going to be? All that Bunny has seen throughout this series so far is just non-stop aggression. These are likely the Zerglings that were left over from the early game, so you can't really draw any conclusions, but in his mind right now, this could be anything. It's pretty clear here that SHIN wants to do whatever he likes. So I like the idea of sending out a couple medeffects like this. Yeah, I think that's very good. Sniping the Hedge would be big. I don't think he's going to get it. Armory at the conventional time. Yeah, I think as Bunny, you just try to do your tried and true strategy. Bunny is very good at playing macro games. He's a little allergic to playing Ghosts lately. For some reason, in every long ZVT I've seen him play over the last couple months, he refuses to make Ghosts. I don't know why. But I would say he's very strong, on the whole, playing straight up StarCraft 2. Apparently, he's believing that the Ghost is no longer worth making, so he can do whatever he likes. Okay. Infestation Pit is coming up. So it looks to me like we are going to go for a Hive. Game 4 of a series here. We may just be able to see our very first hive. Normally, this is something Zerg players rush out as quickly as they can. Or as quickly as they can reasonably make it. Apparently, it's taken until game number 4 for this really to be produced. And ultimately, we've got ourselves an aggressive start, but a pretty normal follow-up. So, second factory over at the natural expansion. We'll probably see a 4th command center here in a moment as well for Bunny. 4th command center and then 3 additional barracks is what I would estimate here. Boom, boom, boom. Fort CC, wherever we build it. He's got the money for it right about right now. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Interesting. So, scratch that. Normally, after the second... Okay, it's a little odd. I think this is all a little bit disjointed. Usually, after the second factory, you go for the command center first. He's been very busy microing on the other side of the map, so I guess he was just accumulating a lot of resources. He decides to go for the 4th base, and then, ooh, also the additional barracks at the same time. Command centers, though, are nice, but if you lose your entire army, what in the world are you gonna play the game with? Medevac tries to save it, does not have the boost available. I wonder if Shin could have committed there. He decides to not take the chances. I mean, he just went for a hive. I would love to see a couple of Vipers here for the Zerg player. We're going Ultras? Ugh. 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 Okay, well, we'll see. Like I said, Bunny does not like going ghosts very much. And, well, if you don't like going ghosts, you generally also don't like going liberators. And when you don't like going liberators and you don't like going ghosts, Ultras are actually kind of sick. Yeah, so normally this would be the time where you go... Oh, there it is. Okay, you would go Ghost Academy. Speak of the devil. Maybe Bunny was scared for ghosts. I've been scared for ghosts too, dude. I check under my bed every night to see if Nova is there. No luck so far, but... No. Maybe she's cloaked. I don't know. Anyways, Marine drop continues over in the main base too. Ooh. Sorry, Jimmy. Jimmy, no! Oh, shit. Dang, look at that pilot! A true captain goes down with the ship. Now, I think that was a completely unnecessary sacrifice, but you know what? I'll respect it. Okay. Ultralisks, at the very least, have been scouted, and ghosts are coming up. Command centers are building. This is what Bunny has been trying to do the entire series long. Finally, he gets to play a game that he's been looking for. Because Shin has been a real jerk so far. But his drops have been really nice. Oh. Fishing for a lucky medevac hit. Always worth trying, but not gonna happen this time around. I mean, we have liberators. We have ghosts. And we have ultralisks. Now, I want to believe in the power of the Ultra. I really do, but I don't. I like this army way better for Bunny. Economy here for Shin, nothing to write home about. Economy here for Bunny is already looking real nice. He's got a ton of command centers. We definitely do need a bunch more orbitals. Yeah. Basically, Shin will have like one really nice attack in him. And after that, he's gonna be scraping the bottom of his economy. 75 drones is decent, but not amazing. Like, he's still... this is still the mindset of an aggressive player here. In a straight-up fight, I don't think he can really win against a Terran player here, though. But let's see. Yeah, maybe. It all comes down to the positioning. This command center needs to be cancelled. Nicely done. Can we snipe the Ultras? There we go. Ultras being used. I like the anchor here of the planetary fortress as well. Yeah. That fight went exactly as expected. Not a perfect engagement for Bunny by any stretch, but totally fine. Ultimately, a trade here favors Terran for sure. New Ultras are coming up. Liberators and Ghost production continues. We, for some reason, did not go for the +3 infantry attacks. We prioritized armor. Keep in mind that the Ghost Snipe ability is a spell, so it does not benefit from attacking upgrades. Maybe armor here is actually not that bad in these kind of situations. Ghost Cloaking has been contaminated. SHIN just trying to get some value here, but this is very different than like that Mass Overseer, Mass Nidus Worm style that we've, for example, seen Rogue go for as of late. This is SHIN basically just screaming the entire time, hoping that his opponent will leave the game. Let's see. This is the second wave of the Swarm. This one needs to deal a lot of damage. Ultra's derping out against the planetary fortresses. Mass Repair is really nice. This one may end up going down, but there will be plenty of command centers to replace it, and I don't even think it will fall. What about the main army, though? Yeah, reinforcing Terran troops have just shown up. GG. Next up, we find ourselves on Tokamech. SHIN was basically all in that entire previous game long. He was just trying to decide when to attack. Like, ever since the Ling Bane aggression in the early game, he never really truly transitioned towards playing a macro game. I know it looked like he was doing that style, but he was always aiming, he was always angling at being aggressive. Honestly, that's been the entire series so far. SHIN is currently that crazy person who, you know, just has blood, I guess is all he sees, right? He just sees blood in front of his eye, and that's all he wants to do. He just wants to be aggressive now. Now, we find ourselves on Tokamech, another one of the new official maps. If I'm not mistaken, it's a Tokamech is a part of a fusion reactor. I'm not exactly sure. I looked it up at some point. Anyways, it is some engineering nerd shit. Yeah, that's what it is. And you know what? I've asked my viewers this many times during the live stream. Well, not necessarily asked directly, but a lot of people have mentioned over the years that they are engineers. Yeah, there's a lot of engineers that watch StarCraft. So Tokamech, I think this is a, this one's one for you. Yeah, I'm assuming if you are a software engineer, all you do all day is deal with fusion reactors. Right? Pretty sure that's how it works. Anyway. You're definitely not just Googling, how do I change the background color of... No. Let's see. So far, actually very normal. So far, I mean, other than the lack of a third hatchery, but that's mostly because the Reaper is being a bit of a jerk. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna get the job done. Actually, I know it's a lot of software engineers in particular. There are some mechanical engineers, at least in my stream chat, usually as well. But a lot of software guys. Now, what sort of aggression is SHIN gonna go for this time around? I think that's the real question we have to ask ourselves. It's not gonna be that Solar approach, you know? Another South Korean Zerg player. Solar will basically sit there and absorb every attack. That's the playstyle I'm personally very fond of as well. At least that's the style I've always aspired to being good at. But easier said than done. SHIN so far in these games, not aiming for that whatsoever. Bunny also mixing it up a little bit. So rather than a triple CC 111, we're doing a triple CC 211, meaning triple command center, 2 barracks, 1 factory, and then a starport. This means that the starport is later, but that the second barracks is quicker. It also usually means, though, that you're only gonna make 2 Hellions tops. Still, though, they've already done a little bit of work. It takes 3 Hellions to one-shot a drone, so you're not really angling here for any sort of, like, economical damage. But it's to put on a bit of pressure, and to make it, at the very least, a little bit more difficult to spread the creep. Getting that first tumor snipe is really quite nice. Okay. Stimpak should finish up about 5 minutes into the game. Another advantage of the 2-1-1 opener is that it usually is quite strong against a Roach all-in. So Roach all-ins usually hit right around the same time that Stimpak finishes. Stimpak usually finishes a couple seconds after the attack, or after the attack begins. But still a good timing. Roach Warren will be once more what SHIN is going for, but this is not what we saw in, well, the first game of this series, for example, right? Where it was like a 3.5-minute Roach Warren, very low worker count, mass Roach, Link Flood on the back of this. This is going to be a Roach Warren together with a lair. So this so far looks like a pretty normal game. Yeah, double Evo chamber, double gases on the natural as well as the third base. Will he go for a fourth first, or will he go for a sixth gas? This is similar to what he did earlier, when he just went for the Roach Floods. I don't really like the timing of the Evo chambers too much, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I feel like the Evo chamber timings here are a little bit random. If you want to go for a Roach timing, I really think you should try and line up all 3 of these upgrades. The Roach research for the speed is way quicker than those 2 upgrades. So... it won't be the end of the world, especially if you now go for a lair, but you delay your lair upgrades. Anyways, nice little marine drop over here, though. Putting a lot of work. Does cancel it for the last possible second. I mean, since he still has not started up Roach speed, I guess the timings will magically line up. Overextension here from Bunny, though. I really don't think he needs to be all the way over here, although he does... Okay, he does kill every single queen. And the drone. An absolute bloodbath here. Normally, I'm a little hesitant to call that an advantage, but after killing 8 queens, I think it's okay. Yeah, so now the upgrades will line up. Let's see. Bunny probably wondering here as well, like, where's the rest of your stuff? SHIN is remaking a 4th. Problem here for him, though, is that after losing those queens, he needs to remake at least a bunch of them. And while we can go for a big attack on the other side of the map, I'm a little afraid we're going to end up with a very similar situation as what we had in, I believe it was the second game of the series, where he tapped out with like 120 supply versus 110. It's likely that the attack he's going to go for is not going to be too successful. Lovely attack here once more, though, by Bunny. Showing us how you need to get the job done as Terran. He only made 2 Hellions, one of them now still alive. These scans are just to rub a little bit of salt in the wound. The real question is he going to be able to stop this main attack? Bunny does see the rocks going down now. Siege Tank needs to get into position ASAP. Medevacs have also started returning back home. I mean, he's pushing up a high ground, though. I don't think there's enough here for Zerg, but maybe. SHIN has got an awful lot of army. Keep in mind, he's also got the 1-1 upgrades now done. Corrosive Biles can make very quick work of Ravagers. SCVs once more pulled away from their mineral line. As long as Bunny defends this, he will be okay, but he is taking a lot of damage already. SCV losses, though, not really too bad. Just 6 of them at this point. Additional gas is going to get dropped on more Ravagers. SHIN just holding down the Roach button. He's remaking a 4th hatchery for the 3rd time. Full aggression. That's all we're doing. But the problem here for SHIN is that all aggression he does from this angle is always going to be up towards a high ground. 2 empty medevacs. I love the fake medevac drop. Just flying it over the army. He's like, yo, I don't have 16 Marines in my medevacs. You should probably be scared of account. Okay, there's once more. Full aggression, though. This shit is not going to be tricked by it at all. He's not leaving any army on the table on the other side of the map. Medevacs have come back home after their silly little game. Lots of SCVs are dying this time around, though. Not a lot of Marines and Marauders or whatever remaining either. 2-2 is started up here for Bunny, but I find that a little overly ambitious. It's expensive to actually go for those upgrades, and he's actually struggling spending his money. How many barracks are we on? We have 5 barracks and 2 factories. It shouldn't be impossible at all for him to spend his cash. Finally, he does get some of those resources down, but he's taking a ton of damage in the process. And what was a very holdable attack has now turned into a bit of a disaster. I mean, those attacks are scary. They're a little dangerous. But I think this was very much so up to Bunny to miss macro. He needs the reinforcements quicker. And I think he dropped the ball a little bit on his money spending there. 38 SCVs have now gone down, and the Roaches are still flooding in. The 2-2 upgrades here, way too ambitious. Not gonna happen. I guess he was miss-macroing. He's like, well, if I get the upgrade started, maybe they'll finish. But ultimately, that is a lot of resources caught up in things that aren't useful. And SHIN gets another, well, another relatively quick victory. Well, I mean, if there is one map in the new map pool that would be great for cheeky strategies, it would be Last Fantasy. Match point here for SHIN. This is a 3-player map. So he's sending his Overlord in the wrong direction. Bunny has spawned in the bottom left. SHIN has spawned in the bottom right. SCV Scout already moving out here very early for Bunny. He does not want to be caught off guard with something stupid. Or, oh, he's the one cheesing. Never mind. This is not a scout at all. So despite the fact that this is a 3-player map, I mean, this little section over here, this thing, I guess, is the exact middle of the map. He is the one building barracks right around this area because I guess the speed circles will allow you to get the units into the fight really rapidly. Yeah, so we're just going for a full-on all-in. Triple barracks cheese here from Bunny. He's behind in the series, and if this doesn't work, it is game over for him. But if it does work, yeah, not so bad. It would not be that bad whatsoever. Yeah, and the Overlords, I mean, the problem here, of course, for Zerg, and this is not really something I've really considered, but your first 2 OVs, they're always going to try and scout out the main base of the opponent, so either this site or the one right over here. It would be unlikely that SHIN is going to send one of his early Overlords to the center of the map to try and scout this sort of shenanigans. Maybe that's what you should be doing, but alright, Bunny will now get confirmation that the opponent did not spawn over here, so he knows where to set his rally points. He knows where to go ahead and be aggressive. Overlord Scouts are never going to catch this. I don't think so. You may have to Drone Scout. Drone Scouts have not been popular for Zerg players over the last years. Really ever since 4-player maps disappeared, but I guess the 3-player map is the new 4-player map. Bunny found a nice little nuke over here where the creep had not spread yet, so he decides to go ahead and plant down his first bunker in that location. Drones pulled away. Should be an easy kill, assuming the units actually turn around and fight it. Second bunker also coming up. I mean, if we fight in the speed circles, who benefits it? I guess the drones. It's gonna get really messy, though. That's so silly. Anyways, the bunkers in the meantime are still going up. This one, though, did get sniped. The SCV, that is. No cancel on that bunker either. This one also is not going to finish. In the meantime, SHIN has made 2 spine crawlers. And spine crawlers are going to be very handy here. Yeah. What do you do now, Bunny? Where do we go from here? Okay. We fly the barracks back home. He reconsiders, sends one of them towards the opponent's base. And he's decided to build a CC on the low ground, which SHIN can now CC. Oh god. I was making a terrible joke and then, well, the diva announcer came in as well. Look, SHIN. Big fan, but you should really change it out for the Lowko announcer. Let's be real for a second. Anyway, Overlord going around the site. At this point, SHIN can once more, yeah, be the aggressor. I was gonna say, the early game aggression here from Bunny has not really worked out. The only problem is that SHIN has no freaking workers other than, well, his starting count plus 1. He's got 13 drones. So what do? We all in again. Bunny is scouting with a single barracks. He will see that there is a Baneling Nest eventually, but I don't think it's going to be in time. If the Baneling Nest would have been built over here, that coin flip would have been a hell of a lot nicer for him. Overlord does die, which is very expensive for SHIN to replace. But he's got a Baneling Nest done right now. He's got a ton of Zerglings. He also has a really nice target to be busting. That reactor is certainly going to be his first weapon of choice. It takes 5 Banelings to kill a depot. If you hit the reactor, though, in the middle, I think the depots on the sides will also go down. There is a single bunker coming up here. Factory has been turned over. I mean, let's see. How much damage can this truly deal? He wants to tank a little bit of damage right there. Oh, he doesn't go for the middle. Instead, he just decides to go for the supply depot. Kills the reactor in the process, too. He needs to deal game-ending damage, though, because, again, there's only 13 drones on the other side of the map. Not enough damage dealt here by SHIN in the end. He was dealing quite a bit of economic loss, but the problem is, of course, those mules are gonna outmine him very rapidly. GG. And that means that this best of 7 series comes down to Persephone. Final game. On probably my new favorite map. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen enough games yet on the others. But this map, it has been glorious in the longer games in particular. So, let's see. Oh. Player's getting sleepy, I guess. SHIN losing a drone there to a Reaper. Not even doing anything with it. Like, he pulled the drone away. He's like, ah, whatever, man. Why can't we all just be friends, bro? Who cares about the Reaper? Well, you lose a drone now. GG. Okay, not the end of the world. Couple Zerglings, too, on the other side of the map. Delaying the command center a bit. But he needs to finish this base in the next couple seconds. Mostly just to not hit a supply block. He's gonna be okay, though. Orbital command. Boom. Orbital. There we go. Yeah, even though this is all... Like, all of the games have been pretty fast. You can tell still, though, that the players are getting a little bit tired, I think. Like, at this stage in the game and this stage of the series, you really do have to keep your head in the game. It's very easy in a game of StarCraft to lose. And despite the fact that all of the games have been quick, this is still a game 7 in a best of 7 series. Okay. Triple CC 111 Hellion Banshee. Looks like, yep, will be the weapon of choice right here for the Terran. What is SHIN going for in the meantime on the other side of the map? Extremely normal strategies. Yes, for both of them. So triple hatchery for him. Queen production is well underway. We've gone for Zergling speed. Maybe we'll settle in for just the most normal game now. Maybe SHIN just wanted to play a best of 1. That's what he came for. That's what he's here for. He's like, I guess I'll do all of the other games too, though. Yeah, none of this is looking like aggression now. If he wanted to go for a Roach all-in, he had to already put down the Roach Warren. If he wanted to go for a, I don't know, like a Nidus all-in or Mutas or whatever, he already sort of had to go for a Lair at this point in time. There's obviously still transitions he can make. But, yeah, he's now settling for a little bit of Hellion damage. That was a good surround. But this is obviously not, well, aggression that will immediately win you the game. I think you actually sent the Hellions into the healing circle. Nobody ever thinks about the healing circle. The healing circle is a brand new mechanic. Players don't really seem to care for it at all. But I think the Hellions in there would have been, yeah, he's sending them back for repairs. The maps are too new. It's obvious he should go for the healing circle. Would have been free too. Anyway. Barracks coming up. Armory is building. That is a pretty quick armory. So Bunny is gonna try and follow this up with a Hellbat push. Already though, the creep spread is looking really sweet here for SHIN. How many queens does he have? 8 queens. 8 queens against Hellions and Hellbats should be okay. Here we go. There are some units on the back of this as well. Queens though in a good spot. With a nice arc, they can put in a lot of work. One queen already falls though. Another queen also dies right there to the Banshees. Or Banshee. Just a single one. And this is Bunny mostly just angling here to deal damage to the queens. Whatever damage he can deal here to the economy is nice. But forcing the Zerg to remake queens is going to slow them down tremendously. And this is an excellent bit of aggression. Alright, one of the Banshees does go down. Hellbats have now turned... Oh god! SHIN, really? Oh jeez, that is ambitious. He just sent the drones to surround a Hellbat group. Now, I want to believe in the strength of the drone as much as the next guy, but... Maybe give them like, I don't know, little water guns or something next time around to at least put out the flames. But that is dangerous. 12 drones and 8 queens go down. Excellent attack right there from Bunny. I don't even think he could hope for any more than that. Still though, not a lot of units left over right now for base defense for the Terran. He stacks up the SCVs. Very quick stack. Sends them as a mineral walk to the natural. That means he only lost 3 workers there. Crisis management here from the Terran player. Excellent. Okay, Lair together with a Baneling Nest. It's almost like Shin is thinking, yo, I thought we decided to play a macro game. Like, why are you being aggressive, dude? First your Reaper kills a drone. Now you're gonna come in with the Hellions and the Hellbats and the Banshees and stuff. Like, just let me macro, dude. After Shin has been hyper-aggressive this entire series long, apparently he doesn't like playing the defensive style anymore at all. Okay, 4th Command Center coming up. 2nd Factory. When do we go 2nd Factory? I'm hoping soon. Anyways, 2nd Factory, Barracks 6, 7, and 8 probably in just a moment. This is, of course, the highway over here on the right side of Persephone. You can get those units into the fight real quick. Likewise, those Zerglings in that circle are gonna close the distance to that siege tank so fast. You see him overshoot? Shin was trying to attack move behind it, or move command before attack moving, but he should have just straight attack move. The green circle speeds up the units very, very rapidly. There's indeed the 2nd Factory now. Barracks 6, 7, and 8 building out at the front. 4th Command Center coming up. Okay. So Bunny is finding himself with a nice advantage, but he's not gonna try and risk it. He is gonna try and just get further ahead when he's ahead. A legit way to play, but it also does mean that the Zerg army is gonna be far more complicated as the game goes on. It's not just gonna be Lings anymore, it's gonna be Hydra, Ling, Bane for now. Maybe Lurkers as well on the horizon here for Shin. We'll have to see where this goes. We'll see if Bunny decides to go into a 2nd starport or a Ghost Academy again. Like I said, he has been experimenting with skipping the Ghost Academy and the extra starport altogether. I find it a very questionable move, but he didn't do that in the previous game where it was relevant, in this particular series. I've seen him do it a bunch in other games, in other series, but... Drilling Claws. Concussive Shells. This would be the time to put down a Ghost Academy. Yeah, he could delay it a little bit longer if he wants to, but right around right now, in between here and like a minute, would be the time to go ahead and do so. Banshee still being a nuisance, by the way. 19 kills to its name before she went down. Shin has done a good job, though, getting back into this. Like, after he lost all of those queens, he's been in a world of trouble. But that was quite a few minutes ago at this point in time. He still has that upgrade advantage. Economically speaking, he's fine. Not amazing, but totally playable. Creep spread still looking unhindered for the most part. He's got 6 queens. At this point, some of those creep tumors may need to be replaced. But this is certainly a very playable game right now for Shin. If he gets like one medevac full of units, for example, that would be... Well, like for example that one. That would be amazing for him. Still, the medevac drop is going to complete. I wouldn't mind having a couple Hydras over here waiting on the edge to try and see if we can get it back. Ooh, spawning pool gets targeted. Okay. Spawning pool goes down. Hydra then has already been planted down too. Infestation pit, I mean. We'll probably see a hive starting up as soon as that thing is done. He does need to remake the spawning pool. He hasn't yet. Does he know? Oh, this could get really awkward. If Shin tries to make Zerglings right now, but he doesn't realize it, there we go. Okay. Not that much of a delay, but the Marine drop is going to continue. Normally, you kind of deal with this by using reinforcing Zerglings, but obviously none of those are coming because Shin is on the other side of the map and he's unable to make Zerglings at this point in time. He's saying, yo, if you don't have your units at home, how are you going to stop my flood of army? Well, I mean, he's going to reinforce, I guess, with Hydralisks? An eye for an eye will be the trade. Lots of SCVs going down, though, compared to the drones, mostly because Bunny had already previously cleared out a lot of the workers. Reinforcing bio units have popped out of the barracks, but the 3rd base has been fully evacuated. 4th Command Center, though, has it been scouted at all? No, Shin doesn't even know about it. Reinforcing Hydras have now cleared out that push there from the Terran. Spawning pool 2.0 is done. Shin's been droning. He's going up to 100. He just went up to triple digits. Dude, I love this Madman style from Shin. Like, Shin is playing this like a psychopath. This entire series has been nuts. He's very capable of playing clean games of StarCraft, but on some days, He just wakes up, I guess, and he just chooses violence. Ultra Cavern, once more. People tell him it's not that great. You know what we need? Missile upgrades. Armor, and then an Ultra Cavern. All of this is a little weird. SHIN has spent many years learning the rules of StarCraft, and now he's decided, you know what, I'm gonna tear those rules into little tiny pieces and throw them away. I'll play something a little bit more, well, I guess feeling-based, right? Generally speaking, playing a feeling-based, like a, ooh, I feel like this is what I need to sprinkle in right now. Usually that doesn't work very well, but there's a few players that can do it very, very nicely. This is the polar opposite of the style that Serral, for example, usually goes for, which is a lot more calculated and a lot more precise. Could still be very successful, though. Lurker Den. So we're going Ultras and Lurkers. Those are strange transitions. Would Bunny expect either? Because this is looking an awful lot like just continued Hydraling Bane pushing. Bunny, by the way, never made a Ghost Academy. So he had all the time in the world to make a Ghost Academy, but he decided not to. He hit a killer supply block as well, I guess, after that aggression, so all of those depots going down really hurt him. He had a nice wall set up over at the third base, too. How many depots have died? What? Not a... What? Am I blind? Oh, 13. I was gonna say. Not a single one. That would be crazy, but no. 13 of them ended up going down. +3 melee right now on the back of this. So SHIN at this point is maxed. Like, he's maxed. He's got tech for both Lurkers as well as Ultras, but he doesn't have any gas. So he probably wants to make a transition either way. Oh, we're pushing up this high ground? I was gonna say, I don't think that's gonna work. But he's like, yes, please, push up this high ground. That was gonna be a major advantage for the Terran player. SHIN decided, though, to back up for now. Siege tank. A little aggressively positioned. Oh, oh. Yeah, that's only gonna be Hydras now. Pretty much only Hydras remain. Bunny invited his opponent a couple of times. SHIN denied the invitation, but then decided, you know what? We're buddies. Turns out they weren't buddies at all. They were buddies. Okay, sorry. Anyways, Lurkers together with Ultras on the production tab. Seismic Spine's researching now too. There's a new hatchery over here that immediately got cancelled. No way that one is ever going to stay around. +2 missile coming up. Okay. So despite Bunny taking a tremendous amount of damage earlier, we're back in action. Bunny does this thing, by the way, sometimes where when he loses a bunch of SCVs, he never remakes them. He lost the 5th command center and then decided, well, I guess this is what we're doing. I wanted to play mass command center, but now that I lost a bunch of stuff, we are never ever going there ever again. So what he does have is a massive army. This is what that looks like. This is when he lost a lot of his stuff at home, but didn't quite lose the game. I wouldn't be surprised if any lost SCV at this point is going to be replaced with more army units instead. In the meantime, by the way, the 3 o'clock base here is a big one. Full golden mineral line. Very, very juicy. Technically quite easy for Bunny to attack into, but like I said, Bunny does not have a Ghost Academy. He does not have Liberator production. He does not have a 5th command center here, because the one that he just planted is the old main base. Bunny is doubling down on mid-game tech to try and fight Ultras, Lurkers, Hydras, Zerglings, and Banelings. And he might just be able to pull it off. The thing is, SHIN is going for full counterattacks. SHIN is gonna set up Lurkers at home to defend. I think that's the plan anyways. Make a whole bunch of Hydras and Lurkers at home to try and defend. No, we're sending those across the map too? Oh my god, really? That means he's got basically nothing at home. Links do run back, however. 22 additional SCVs have died. But he is remaking one of them, but I mean, he's gonna be extremely low in the work account now. He does have minerals, though, to max out one last time. Those Lurkers are picking up whatever they can hit. And keep in mind, there is no detection. He doesn't have any detection other than scans. Hold fire here on the Lurkers? Yep. Ay. It's a disaster. An absolute disaster. And now is when the Ultras apparently hit the battlefield. Man, I love this style of Zerg. I don't know if it's great, but I love watching it. Like, like, what if you do this against Klim? I feel like Klim is gonna somehow, some way dismantle you, but look at the type of game it creates. Bunny is fighting the most dangerous units that Marine can fight with Marines. And he just got the win against it too. Although all of the medevacs are out of energy and there will not be a whole lot of repairing. He cannot really scan ahead of this army. So singular lurkers that are burrowed here are actually super annoying, each requiring a separate scan. Bunny wanted to take the right turn here, decided that apparently it's not possible. Healing Circle again would be a phenomenal idea. You can park the ground units in there and get them back up to full HP before committing. Now he does find a pack of Banelings that are morphing in right outside of the perimeter of the creep. +3/+3 by the way, which was started up a while ago. I thought it was a little wild that Bunny decided to go for it, but now he may accidentally find himself in a position where that 3/3 research is gonna save the day. Do they not know about the Healing Circle? Okay, well, he now knows about the 3 o'clock expansion. Not a whole lot of possibility, though, here for Shin to defend this, I don't think. I mean, he's gonna try. He's thinking, yo, the Healing Circle and the Speed Zone and all that. All of this is nice and all, but I don't want to give up my golden, juicy mineral line. Banelings are phenomenal in this spot, and GG gets cold. It is ultimately Shin who obtains the victory, 4-3 over Bunny, with hyper-aggressive Zerg strategies. GG.